Welcome to the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast with Ken Countess. Ken is an internationally recognized marketing expert. This podcast will give you tips on how to market your business more effectively than ever before to help you make more money, whether you're just starting out or have been in business for years. And now, here's Ken Countess.
Hey, welcome to this week's episode of the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast. I'm Ken Countess, and I've got a special treat for you today. I've got D. Anthony Miles, who's CEO and founder of Miles Development Industries. He's based in San Antonio, but, you know, think bigger. His business stretches not only nationally, but globally as well. And D, welcome to the show.
Ken, thank you for having me this morning. I was looking forward to this all week.
Yeah, me too. Well, as we're recording this in late June, actually on the tail end of June of 2018, you're in San Antonio. I'll bet it's probably as hot there as it is here.
Oh, you don't want to come here right now.
Yeah, well, we've not only do we have heat, but we have rain too. It's been just wet as can be here for the last several days, and they say right through the 4th of July it's going to be, get that kayak out because you may need it.
Uh-oh, goodness.
So D is an entrepreneur. He's an award-winning researcher, professor, legal expert witness, best-selling author. He's written 2 books. He's got a 3rd one in the works. And we're going to talk today about the 13 deadly sins of marketing. That's all? Just 13?
Yeah, 13 marketing mistakes.
All right. So let's jump into it. D, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I have my own consulting practice, Miles Development Industries Corporation, and I'm a startup and marketing expert, and what I do is I'm a business advisor to high net worth individuals, meaning professional athletes, people that are fluent, and also lottery winners. That's what spans my client base. I work in the capacity of a business advisor with them, and on the other side of my business, I have the venture capital side, where I look at acquiring businesses that are underperforming. And I have a team that we work with on that. And also, that's pretty much it. And I'm a statistician. I get contracts for doing statistical work. And that's pretty much the scope of my business model and what I do with my business.
That's awesome. So before what you're doing today, what was your last gig and why did you leave it?
Well, I was a professor at the university. And interesting story here. I never thought I'd talk about this. When I was a professor at the university, there was a conflict between me and a new dean that got hired. And he really wasn't a good fit for the university. Uh-huh. And so I just basically said, I'm going to go ahead and leave and focus on my consulting work. I love teaching, but I didn't think that the time that you have to spend teaching is a little more than I wanted to spend. And then because of that, and I had a couple of conflicts with him. He just wasn't the right guy for the right fit for the school. And I ended up leaving. And eventually he was removed as the dean. I guess everybody saw what I saw. So he ended up leaving. He was being let go. And sometimes that happens when you work especially when you have your own business. When you have your own business, Ken, like I believe you're an entrepreneur like I am,
right?
It's hard for you to work in a business and deal with some of the political things that you have to deal with.
Oh, okay? Yeah.
It's very difficult. And a lot of times you meet people who are not as talented as you are, and they're threatened by you.
Right.
And they use their position, which is they're in a supervisory role or administrative role. A lot of their non-talented abilities get exposed, and a lot of them misabuse their power. I'm not saying that's what happened in my case, but as you become an entrepreneur and as you have your own business, it's really hard for you to work in the capacity of a situation like that. Entrepreneurs think and act. No, when you work in a school or organization, you have to go through other people. You have to go through a committee. And a lot of times they miss opportunities because you have to deal with the political climate and the bureaucratic climate that's in the organization. So that's what happened with me. And it was the best thing I did was focus on my consulting work.
Yeah, that's so great. What a great story. And by the way, I am totally with you on that. I spent 25 years also in corporate America at
Oh
Fortune
yeah.
100 companies, so three of
Uh-huh.
them.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I mean, you may get lucky and wind up in a situation where you're working with people who really respect what you have to contribute. But
Oh yeah.
oftentimes you're right. So many people are threatened when someone talented starts coming up the ranks, and it stifles. First of all, it just creates a bad environment for everybody. But then it winds
Oh
up
yeah.
stifling your own creativity. And when you're smart, you leave. And
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And people that are smart, that have talent, they never have to worry about either job or opportunity because your talent, God gave you that talent, and your talent is just going to merge no matter where you are. So
right.
you may as well do it for yourself. And one of the things about when you leave a company and start your own business, you're not going to be the same after that. You're much different. You're more seasoned. You're more smarter. You're more, you can adapt to situations quicker. When you're in a corporate situation, or an organizational situation, sometimes you have so many constraints to your creativity and so many constraints to your talent. And then, you know how the corporate hierarchy is, it's a triangle. As the triangle, because of the triangle infrastructure, that means people act in their own best interest. And that's what it ends up happening. That's why people that have talent, like yourself and myself, you never stay at a place because you need to be all you can be, like the Marines. Okay. And sometimes a job does not allow you to do that.
Right. That's so true. I'll just add one more thing, Dee. And I
Sure.
left corporate America for good in 2010. And I had done some consulting. As I mentioned, I was in a corporate role for about 25 years. In 2001
Cool.
is when I started consulting.
Uh-huh.
And in between went back and forth to corporate life until the consulting really took hold and got off the ground. And what I found each time was how disenchanted I was actually being on a corporate payroll. And I look back now and I say, God, how did I ever last that long
Oh
uh,
yeah.
in that environment that was so constraining? Um,
Absolutely.
but
And
you learn as you go along. I vividly remember sitting in a conference room holding my own staff meeting in 2004, looking
uh-huh.
out the window and over downtown Dallas, thinking, "What am I doing here? I don't belong here. I'd much rather be consulting." And
Absolutely. And
yeah, so
people get their calling at different times of their career. And the
so
thing
true.
about when you get your calling, when you hear it, you should heed to it. And, the other part of it is a lot of people, entrepreneurs, waiting to, break out, but they don't want to leave because they're, the wife or the spouse wants them to help value security. And sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, you have to value freedom more than security.
Yeah. Well, they
You
both
know,
have high value, don't they?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, let's get into the 13 deadly sins of marketing.
All righty. I came up with this because I prepared for our show, and I figured that I could do your listeners a great service by telling them what are some of the 13 deadly sins of marketing. And I'm gonna give you 13 lessons and 13 examples of why that lesson is, and I think that it will go over. And I'm probably gonna end up putting this on a PowerPoint slide. I have access to people that forget it, and I'll send you the link. I'll probably put this on my ResearchGate website, but here are the 13. You want me to explain each one or give you 13 and go back and explain each one? How do you want me to do it?
Why don't we go through each one by one? Keep it bite size. I mean, you're a radio guy too,
Sure.
podcaster too, so yeah, you know the drill.
All
I'll
righty.
I'll leave it to you. We're all ears.
Okay. All righty. Mistake number one, market saturation. When you try to compete in a saturated market and a commodity-based product challenge, what that means is The sad truth about that, some businesses or some products are commodity type products. The market is so saturated, it's a challenge to compete in the marketplace. And because of the saturation, you're forced to compete on price. And most people buy, or consumers buy products on two bases: price and value. And those are not the same things. And I'll give an example of that. Why do some people shop at Walmart and some people shop at Neiman Marcus? People that shop at Neiman Marcus shop on a basis of value, and some people that shop at Walmart shop on the basis of price. So because of that, when you compete in a saturated market, you're limited to competing on price because you're trying to get chosen in a sea of other products, and there's no way your product is going to stand out. Mm-hmm. So that's mistake number one, is market saturation, trying to compete in a saturated market.
Got it.
All right. Number two is called weak value proposition. My research team, we did some research on Shark Tank, and we looked at why do some products get funding and some products don't. And one of the things is that we came across in our research was the concept of value proposition. And everybody that's worth their salt as a marketing expert knows what value proposition is. What are you offering a customer compared to what everybody else is offering them?
Right.
Value proposition is composed of about 7 elements, key elements. And you got to ask yourself this about your product. Does your product perform quicker or faster? Does your product perform better? Is your product easier to use? Is your product different or unique? Is your product more convenient? Does your product save time or save money? If your product does not touch on any of those 7 elements, you have a weak value proposition. And that's why mistake number 2 is called weak value proposition.
Got it.
All right. Mistake number 3 is poor co-branding partnerships. This is one of my favorite ones. Ken, you go into Walmart, right?
Yeah.
If you can.
I do.
Have you seen Krispy Kreme donuts in Walmart before?
Not that I remember.
I live in San Antonio. I swear to God, Ken, they have Krispy Kreme donuts on the shelf being sold in Walmart here.
No kidding.
That is a strange bedfellow. Now what's everybody knows what Krispy Kreme's is. It's a high-end retail donut place. They sell high-end donuts.
Yeah.
This is a strange one because here's the problem. Here we have a price-focused retailer partnering with a value-focused retailer product. Krispy Kreme is based on value because they have a high-end donut. They're a high-end donut retailer. Walmart is a price-focused retailer, and they focus on discount pricing. So that's an incompatible partnership.
Right.
Now, the value-focused retailer with a price-focused retailer is a recipe for disaster. And I'm like Dr. Phil on this point, Ken. How's that working for you? It doesn't work. Okay. So now a better partnership probably would be McDonald's partnership with Walmart. They have a incubator Walmart inside McDonald's inside of Walmart. That works because why? Because McDonald's is a low-cost, a price-focused burger joint, and you have Walmart that's a price-focused retailer. So that's a partnership made in heaven. Krispy Kreme would do better partnering with Target as opposed to Walmart. So you want to find a partner that's equally compatible to your market focus, either price or value.
That's interesting. You know, I hadn't really thought about it that way, but I do know that I live in the Orlando, Florida area, and I know there's a city not too far from here called Sanford, and the Sanford Super Walmart does have a McDonald's as you walk in. And,
absolutely.
And it's busy. And by the same token, Target up in that area has a Starbucks that you see immediately when you walk in.
Exactly. You see my point. Exactly.
I do.
And that's been my marketing professor when I was in school had pointed out that happens to a lot of products when I guess when their sales shift or the market gets I guess when they mature in their products, they go to the discount retailer route. One of them was my marketing professor said, and this is a repeat of the same lesson. Estee Lauder used to not be in low-cost retailers.
Right.
He said Estee Lauder used to be in high-end stores like Saks Fifth Avenue or Macy's. But that's what happens sometimes when the product becomes not so much, it's not a prestige product anymore, and everybody buys it, and that's when you see that happens. That's what you're seeing with Krispy Kreme's putting their donuts or their products in Walmart.
Yeah.
It's not a good, that dog won't hunt. Okay.
Great. How's
all
number
right.
4?
Number 4, you really got to like this one. Poor product positioning strategy. This is a classic lesson. I got one word for you, Ken. Kmart. Why is this a poor positioning strategy for Kmart? Well, this is a classic lesson. Kmart did not anticipate the emergence of Walmart. However, because of this emergence, this forced Kmart into a situation. You have Target, which is a high-end customer retailer, and then you have Walmart, which is a low-end. So then what is Kmart exactly? So Kmart had not figured out how to reposition themselves with the emergence of Walmart and Target.
Right.
And so Kmart, because of that, they fell by the wayside. And I don't know too many, they closed, I think, all of the Kmarts here in San Antonio. I don't know if they closed the Kmarts where you live, but they closed all of them here. It's not one Kmart open in the San Antonio area.
Well, I think Sears is suffering the same fate too. And didn't Kmart buy Sears?
I think they tried to buy each other or tried to do a joint venture. And my marketing professor used to read this quote in class. Lee Iacocca used to say, never put two losers together. Okay. So what do you get when you put two losers together? One big loser.
Yeah.
So that's the lesson there. So yeah, that's a really classic lesson there is a poor product positioning strategy.
All right.
Number 5 is called bad cultural competence in marketing products to international market. Well, what's the lesson here? Who's made this mistake? Ford Motor Company made it and Mattel made it. Ford Motor Company was trying to market the car Nova. And this is a classic example, and I know you know this, Ken.
Yeah.
Well, va means go in Spanish. So they said, why are we not selling the Nova in Mexico? Well, they didn't have anybody on their staff that were familiar with the Latino Hispanic culture.
Uh-huh.
So they did some more snooping. They found out when they put no in front of the va, that means no go in Spanish. So when people saw that, you're trying to market a car that says no go to a ethnic market. That's why you weren't moving any units, you weren't selling any cars, because you weren't familiar with the culture, you weren't familiar with the language.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I don't mean to correct you, but I think it was Chevy Nova.
Chevy Nova, excuse me. That is correct. Chevy Nova.
But you articulated the situation, the problem perfectly.
Yes, and this is a classic lesson that companies make all the time. And when you penetrate an international market, it will be best if you had a couple of people that are familiar with the market and familiar with the culture, so you don't make that mistake again. And that happens more often than not, Ken. And you're a marketing expert like myself, and you've seen that dog not hunt before. I'm quite sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think Chevy's mistake in doing that led to an opportunity for branding experts. So that companies could go to these folks and say, do me a favor and test we're thinking about this name. Let's test it in, whatever the 20, 30, 40, 50 major languages around the world are, so they avoid that same mistake. But that's classic. I'm delighted that you brought that up.
Yeah, that's a classic example. And also you raised an interesting point there, Ken. Also, because of that, you have firms that major in ethnic marketing. And so a lot of companies like Chevy, Ford, and Chrysler, when they want to pitch their products or whatever, they want to pitch their cars to a market that they probably hadn't tapped, they'll usually hire an outside consultant that handles ethnic marketing. So that's a great thing. If you always want to hire somebody outside your circle of competence, and the likelihood of success would be so much higher.
Sure.
So that's a classic example. All righty. Number 6.
Yes, sir.
Bad brand extensions. This is my personal favorite, Ken. Well, let me ask you this. Have you heard of Arizona iced tea nachos?
Heard of what?
Arizona iced tea nachos. Have you ever heard of it?
Iced tea, yes. The nachos, no.
They went into the nacho chips business and they crashed and burned.
Oh, gee.
I got another one for you. Frito-Lay lemonade. Okay, that's the reverse of the Arizona iced tea.
Yeah, right.
Well, why is this a problem? Why is this a deadly marketing mistake? Well, because when you do a brand extension, sometimes success makes us think that we're better than we are. And we believe if our company's been successful because of our brand, we think we can extend our brand to another market just because of the name. You have vertical extension, you got horizontal extension. Now, what Arizona Iced Tea probably should have done was extend it horizontally rather than vertically.
Yeah.
Means, okay, let's go into the energy market because we're already in a beverage market. That'll be a horizontal extension. Well, the problem with that is people believe they can do things vertically. Now, Anheuser-Busch, I don't know if you remember this, Ken, made the similar mistake when they were getting to the chip and snack business with the Eagle Snacks. And the reason I know about this because my uncle used to be executive with Anheuser-Busch. And my brother, we were sitting around, I think it was Christmas, holidays. He was talking about the business. And my brother asked him what happened to Eagle Snacks. He said we had to cut the plug on that because we just wasn't making money for us.
Right.
So a lot of companies try to extend their brand. But you ever heard that saying, stay in your lane? Don't try to do anything that you can't do. So
Stay in your lane. Yeah.
Stay in your lane. So
Yeah.
a lot of companies crash and burn when they don't stay in their lane.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a classic example. Stay within your success, your product strategy. Do not try to extend the brand to a market that you can't extend your brand to.
Right. Otherwise, you can run off into the ditch.
You're gonna be a casualty of a case study of the marketing.
Right.
All righty.
Right.
Number 7,
Yeah.
failure to conduct competitive intelligence on your industry and your market. We have a new industry now called competitive intelligence, which borrows some key concepts from the government or the military called intelligence. They call it CI now.
Right.
And CI acts as a co-strategy to your internal company strategy. CI looks at your competitors and watch their moves. They actually have some companies that have a whole department that does CI. And this is one of the greatest innovations to the marketing industry, I would say, strategy industry, because a lot of people, when they do strategy from internal perspective.
Yes.
So when you do CI looks at your competitors, and you can either counteract their moves or you can stay on course, whatever you're doing. And when you have a CI department, you're not surprised when there's sneak attacks that come all the time. You may have a new player in the marketplace, but if your CI department is on point, they would have already detected a new entrant into the marketplace. So you want to have a CI department, and you want to have competitive intelligence be part of your marketing strategy. And failure to do that is one of the 7 deadly marketing mistakes.
And I would imagine too, Dee, that if you're not big enough to have a CI department, this would be something that you could fairly easily outsource.
Absolutely. They are companies that actually you can outsource that to. And I would probably outsource that because one of the things, Ken, that you made me think of when you brought that point up is I think you need an unbiased person that's not internal.
Yes.
Because you don't want people to see things the way they want to see them. You want people to see things the way they are. Have social intelligence. Don't see things the way you want to see them. See things the way they are. Mm-hmm. And I think if you outsource your CI component, I think that would be a great idea to do that.
Okay. You heard it here first.
All righty. Mistake number 8. You're going to really like this one, Ken. Failure to adjust to the declining product life cycle of the product or service. I got 2 words for you. Radio Shack.
Yes, sir.
When I was teaching at the university, we had a Harvard case study of Radio Shack. And I asked my students, I said, go around the room, raise your hand. When was the last time you guys been in a Radio Shack? Like within a month. Nobody raised their hand. Right. And I said, are you serious? I said, why not? And the sentiment that I got from the students was, why do we need to go in there? They don't really have anything that I want. What's the reason to go in there? And then when I talked about Radio Shack, remember, what's that? The sharper image that used to be in high-end malls?
Yeah.
That got replaced by the Apple Store. Yes. Well, when the emergence of the Apple Store and sharper image came out, that further affected Radio Shack.
Mm-hmm.
Radio Shack did not really keep up with the times. They did not reinvent their business model. So when you hear the term Radio Shack, it connotates transistors radios from the 50s and the 60s and 70s.
Right.
And when they started coming out with the power center malls, you know, with all the category killer, the big box retailers, Radio Shack never adjusted to that. So because of that, because Radio Shack didn't, you know, there's a difference between what your product offering is and what the marketplace wants. Radio Shack never made that transition. So that's why
I'm sure there's another factor that really hurt them as well, pretty dramatically. I think they're called Amazon.
Yeah. We had actually done this as a case study, you know, when I was doing my MBA program. And one of the recommendations that we made is, why don't Radio Shack partner with Microsoft? Because Radio Shack is not a high-end retailer. They kind of lost that. So one of the recommendations we made is, why don't Radio Shack partner with Walmart, kind of like Geek Squad partner with, what is that, Best Buy. So anytime somebody has something wrong with whatever they buy, you got Radio Shack right there. They can pick up contracts like that. So I remember the CEO did not. He made the comment, the new CEO that got out. He said he didn't see how they were still in business, and that's a big, huge point. Sometimes, Ken, and you know this being a marketing guy like myself, every product reaches its product's life cycle. Either you reinvent yourself, or you just fall by the wayside and you end up being extinct. And Radio Shack has not made a transition in the era of Walmart, in the era of Amazon.com, and the era of the Apple Store. So that's the reason why we call that mistake number 8, the failure to adjust to the declining product life cycle.
Excellent.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Number 9.
Right. Number 9 is poor product timing for entering the marketplace. Got 2 for you here, Ken. Remember the zip disk? Remember Divx?
Yeah.
Sometimes companies make a problem for themselves when their product is too ahead of its time. There's other classic examples like what is that thing where before the iPhone and smartphones came out?
PDA.
The PDA. Some products are just too far ahead of their time, and because of that, you know, one of the classic examples here is people want a new product, they just don't want that.
Right.
So, and then Apple made a boo-boo, they had Newton. So, right. So one of the things that you have to be careful of with one of the marketing mistakes here is make sure that you have a need for the product, and the technology is not too far advanced for the consumers. That can happen to anybody. Sometimes it's a learning situation where you transition that into another product and tweak it. But people can say that about pagers. They can say that about PDAs. But the thing about it is, you want your product to meet the need for now, and then you adjust the product later for the future.
Right.
That's the mistake a lot of companies make.
Yeah. Okay.
All righty.
We're up to double digits now. Number 10.
Number 10, intrusive marketing, the pestering marketing strategy. People do not like to be pestered with you trying to market your product to them. This is the death star for many products. So you're probably asking, what is intrusive marketing? Intrusive marketing are things like telemarketing, pop-ups. When you do a search, you got pop-ups trying to sell you products, spam email, unsolicited text messages, obnoxious marketing campaigns. You go onto Barnes & Noble, you pick up a magazine, the inserts fall out trying to get you to do a subscription. Yeah. All of that is up under the umbrella of intrusive marketing. And marketing is supposed to build a relationship with the customer, not be intrusive.
Right.
There's so many examples of companies, and what I want to say here, Ken, is why this one is a pet peeve with me is because that's a derivative of the traditional marketing, which marketing is totally different now. You have to build relationships with people, not just put an insert in there and it drops out. So if you don't build relationships with people, that's what people do, is intrusive marketing. And we still got people doing marketing like we did in the 70s and 80s, and they're just totally out of time with that. So the intrusive marketing is a no-no. That's number 10 one of the worst marketing mistakes that you can make is the intrusive marketing. Okay. All righty. You're going to really like this one, Ken. This is bad reputation management strategy in a PR crisis.
Okay.
There are two examples here. There's Domino's Pizza and there's BP Oil. BP Oil made the mistake of not hiring a company. If you can't do it yourself, most companies don't even think about this till they're in the mix. They have a PR department. You want to have a reputation management strategy anytime you have a crisis. You have to watch what you say, and there's certain things that you have to do when a crisis happens. Another company that made a mistake was Domino's Pizza when they had the guy, employees putting a video on YouTube talking about the stuff that they do with their pizza. That hurt Domino's Pizza for a long time, and they almost never recovered from that because viral video is very damaging. So Domino's Pizza did not handle that situation correctly. They thought just taking a video off of YouTube is going to help them, repair their reputation. Doesn't work that way. They have a lot of consultants that do this. Ken, I think you're familiar with that. They do reputation management. The first lesson in a crisis when you have a reputation management crisis is first thing you do is get in front of the media and apologize and say that you're working on it and you're taking steps to fix the problem.
Right. When
people don't do that, you give people the impression that you don't care. You give people the impression that you're trying to hide something. And there's not a book on earth that's going to tell you how to act in every situation, but there are lessons that you can learn from previous companies.
Sure.
Like the PBR crisis, the CEO, I think his name is Tony Haywood, said, "I like my life back." Why would a guy say that when people have a bad crisis like that? So one of the things that you have to do is you have to try to maintain the brand, head off any damages to the brand and the company. And also, a lot of this comes from political marketing, Ken. You know this. You got to pivot. Take a bad situation and learn from it and try to get more customers by showing that you have a relationship with your customers and the consumers. So you have to pivot. And a lot of companies learn this the hard way, and they don't know how to pivot from a bad PR crisis.
Yeah.
So,
and I would offer up that maybe there's a very recent example of this that and we could spend a couple of minutes on it if you want.
Absolutely.
The
Go ahead.
situation that Facebook encountered just a few
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
They did take a couple of days just to kind of figure out what their message was. But, when Mark Zuckerberg went before congressional committees and was super apologetic and did the messaging, I thought the messaging was right on. Maybe they waited a couple of extra days, but yeah, I do a lot of workshops and seminars, and social media, of course, is one of those things that we talk about. And I think Facebook went through a pretty difficult, albeit maybe short-term situation where people lost trust in them.
Absolutely.
Felt their identities were compromised. But if you look at Facebook today, just look at the stock price. It's higher than it was before that crisis. And I think they did a pretty good job of restoring people's confidence that they are there to do the right thing. And they said, yeah, we screwed up.
That's key. That is key. Yeah, that's classic. And I think Forbes has an article on that, how you act in a PR crisis. First, and that's one of the lessons that you just brought up. Admit the mistake and own the mistake. Right. Because most people can forgive you if you admit, say, I screwed up. Everybody's not perfect. We're human beings. Right. But most companies, that don't hire a reputation management consultant, first thing they do is they don't say anything. Second thing is when they do say something, they deflect. Well, we were having a bad quarter. That could happen to anybody. Well, what is, remember that mantra marketing, Ken? It's not what you say, it's what people hear.
Right. Okay.
What did people hear when you said that? They said you're placing the blame on somebody. The buck is supposed to stop with you. And I think Facebook, which was a great example, handled that good. They could have probably handled them a little bit more efficiently, like you said. Get in front of the problem and address the problem head on and admit that you made a mistake. And I think that Facebook, I think they got up the crisis pretty good. I would say they got up. People are not gonna give up their Facebook account. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Right.
So
Out of the
absolutely.
2 billion people using it, I mean, I think we all know people who said, you know what, I'm done with Facebook. But I, people I'm pretty close to said, I'm giving it up. But you know what? They're back.
Exactly. And Facebook is a part of everybody's life now. Social media, your email, you're wired in. It's really hard to give up something like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
Right. So what's number 12?
Number 12 is poor customer service model. Yeah. And you're really going to like this one, Ken. This is a classic example and a classic mistake. A lot of times, let me give you an example. You remember CompUSA? You remember them? Sure. They used to be around. I believe they're not around anymore.
No,
well, CompUSA had a really bad customer service model, and that probably sped up their demise. Well, this is how it works. Say you buy a computer, or say a computer monitor from CompUSA, and then you had a problem with it, it didn't work, and you want to take it back. Well, what they would do is they say, okay, we can't do anything about it because that's your relationship with the manufacturer. So we'll give you a box and we'll give you the address, and you have to ship it to China, whatever it is, and then you have to deal with them, and they'll give you another one. Now, what's wrong with that customer service model?
It's totally broken.
It's totally broken, exactly. Now, did the customer, when they came into your establishment, did they deal with that manufacturer when they came in and bought it from you?
No.
No. Did they know who the manufacturer was? Most likely they don't. So you act as an agent for the manufacturer when you're a retailer. That's why they call it retail, correct?
Right.
You're the difference between a manufacturer and the wholesaler. So you're the person on the back end of the chain, of the service chain. How many people you think stayed around with CompUSA with a poor customer service model like that? Not very many.
Not very many.
And this is a classic example why why companies need to understand their customer service model. How many hoops do you make the customer go through when they have a product that's a problem? Do they have to fill out a bunch of paperwork, or do you just give them exchange if they bring the product back that didn't work? And your customer service model actually acts as a marketing device for your company, because people not only, and I know you know this, Ken, being a marketing expert like myself, just because a customer buys a product does not end the marketing relationship. It's the servicing that comes after the product purchase. So you have a relationship with that customer pre-purchase and post-purchase. And a lot of companies just don't get this. And another companies that was bad about this were cable companies. Their customer service model was poor. I mean, you're paying for a bill before you even got the service. You're paying ahead of time for a bill a month ahead. Nobody does that but cable companies. I think they've changed it since. But you have to have a better customer service model for these type of things, because it's going to bite you in the fanny later on.
Yes, sir. All right, number 13.
All righty. 13, the last one, the most important one, is incompetent management and marketing staff. And you're going to really like this one, Ken. This is a chronic problem with a lot of companies in the field of business and also that have marketing departments. This is one of the problems with marketing as a field of study. Marketing, a lot of people think they know marketing and they don't. Some people think because they can build a good website means they know marketing. Some people that are creative and artsy believe because they're good at illustrations that they're good at marketing. Marketing is a science, and marketing has become like the field of law. Marketing isn't one thing, it's many things. Okay, marketing tends to be left side and right side. Left side is numbers, analytics, metrics. Right side tends to be colors, art, fonts, how the product is presented. And the problem with incompetent staff is people that are on the right side try to think that they know marketing without encompassing people on the left side. So you have to have both sides. Just because you're good at being creative at one thing does not mean you're good at marketing.
Right.
Okay. Too many people on the right side think because they are good at being creative that they're good at marketing. No, that's not the case. Ouch. Okay. So you have to have competent marketing and management staff to help get your product out to the consumers. And every marketing strategy has to encompass both the right side and left side. So you have to have competent marketing staff and marketing and competent management. That's the 13 deadly sins of marketing.
All right. So I wrote them all down. I've got number 1 is market saturation. Number 2 is weak value prop. Number 3 is incompatible partnerships. Number 4, poor product positioning. Where did I put number 5? Bad cultural fit. Number 6 was bad brand extensions. Number 7 was failure to conduct competitive intelligence. Number 8 was failure to adjust to competitive environment. Where's number 9? There. Poor product timing. Let's see, where did I put number 10? I know it's on the, intrusive marketing. Number 11 was bad reputation management. Number 12 was poor customer service model. And number 13 was incompetent management of marketing staff. The 13 deadly sins of marketing. Awesome.
Yes,
That's a
indeed.
great list. And I mean, it's, you described them so well and gave such great illustrations, Dee. I know that folks listening to this episode are going to get very high value out of it. So I've been chatting with Dr. D. Anthony Miles, who is CEO and founder of the Miles Development Industries Corporation. It's a consulting practice and a venture capital acquisition firm. Hey, Dee, this is your chance to give your shameless plug or promo.
All righty. I'll plug my book. How's that?
Go for it.
I have a new book coming out. I'm going to get you a copy, Ken. We're just writing to how the editor redo it. I have a new book coming out called How to Get Away with Murder Marketing, Forensic Marketing. And it's an awesome book, and it helps consultants with their job on how to forensically analyze a company from a marketing perspective. And you're really going to like this book, Ken. I should have the book out probably September or October this year. And you're really going to like it. It's about a 200-page book. We're planning big things for the book. We're going to have it at the airport. We're going to have it at Barnes and Nobles, and you'll probably see me on TV. And you will definitely get an autographed copy from me. Absolutely.
I look forward to it. And for those who are listening to this episode before the book comes out, we're talking about September 2018. This episode was recorded toward the end of June of 2018. So if you happen upon this episode after September, it should be on the book stands right now.
All right.
So, Dee, thank you so much for joining me on the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast. I look forward to the next time we chat.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Ken. I enjoyed it. I had a blast.
Me too. Let's do it again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Well, I really enjoyed that interview with D. Anthony Miles, Dr. D. Anthony Miles. And those were the 13 sins of marketing. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And hope you'll join me again next week. And don't forget to check out our brand new Email Marketing Online Academy. It's www.marketyourbusiness.co/email-academy. That's where you'll find out more. Check out all of our episodes of the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast. It's on our website, marketyourbusiness.co. Look for the podcast tab, and there you'll find all previous episodes. And while you're on our website, don't forget to check out all the other resources and sign up for our weekly newsletter too.
Thanks for listening to the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast with Ken Countess. Be sure to visit marketyourbusiness.co to access show notes, discover our fantastic content, and sign up for our mailing list. Have questions? Send Ken an email, ken@thecountessgroup.com, ken@thecountessgroup.com, or Twitter @CountessGroup. See you next time.
If you need help with this or anything else related to marketing your business, reach out to us.